Forget the backstory. You already know Japan built better. Let's just talk about why you can't have any of it. There's a rule. One rule. The federal government decided that any car built outside the United States cannot be imported and legally driven on American roads until it turns 25 years old. That's it. That's the whole thing. No safety cert. No emissions approval. No crash testing done to American standards. You hit that 25-year cutoff, and suddenly the government just stops caring. The car is grandfathered in, legal by default. Before that birthday, though, you're either paying massive fines, watching your car get crushed at the port, or both. And the cars Japan was building in the late 80s and all through the 90s were so far ahead of what America was selling that this rule basically became a personal attack. A whole generation of drivers grew up watching these things destroy everything on the road in video games, in movies, in magazines, and then found out they literally couldn't touch one. Here's every car that got caught in that trap, ranked by how hard the ban actually hurt. Level 1. The cars that hurt the most. Nissan Skyline GT-R R32 first. This is the one that started the whole conversation. Built from 1989 to 1994. RB26 DETT twin-turbo inline-6. Factory rated at 276 horsepower. Everyone knew that number was a lie. These things were making 320, 330 horsepower straight off the line, and Nissan just played dumb about it. All-wheel drive, all-wheel steering. A Tiza ETS traction system that thinks faster than you do. The R32 won the Japanese Touring Car Championship so many times they eventually just banned it from competing. The competition literally banned a production car because it was embarrassing purpose-built race machines, and Americans couldn't legally own one until 2014. By the time the R32 cleared the 25-year mark, used examples were already selling for $30,000, $40,000, climbing fast. The window where you could grab one cheap had already closed by the time the law allowed it. Then the R33 hit, 1995 to 1998. Same engine, better chassis, faster around a track. Nürburgring lap time of 7 minutes 59 seconds back in 1996, which was genuinely shocking for a road car at the time. That cleared the 25-year rule in 2020. Prices jumped immediately. Clean examples are sitting at $50,000 to $70,000 now because everyone who waited finally had legal access and nobody was selling. Supply dried up overnight. Level 2, the one that's still banned right now, Nissan Skyline GT-R R34. This is the car. The one that Paul Walker drove in Fast and Furious and made an entire generation of kids lose their minds. Built from 1999 to 2002. Same RB26, better everything around it. Multifunction display in the dash showing boost pressure and G-forces in real time like it thought it was a race car that forgot to take its suit off. The V-Spec versions got the Brembo brakes, the Nismo suspension, the carbon fiber hood. The V-Spec 2 got a diffuser. The Nur Edition was a limited run built to celebrate that Nürburgring time, and those things are now worth insane money. And here's the problem. The 1999 R34s don't clear the 25-year rule until 2024. The 2002 cars don't clear until 2027. So right now, today, if you're driving a registered R34 on American streets, something shady happened to make that possible. Customs has actually seized and crushed legal owners' cars. Not imports, not fakes. Cars people paid 6 figures for. Gone. The government doesn't negotiate on this one. Level 3. The sports cars that should have been here. Toyota Supra A80. Now hold on. The A80 Supra isn't banned the same way because Toyota actually sold it in America. But the Japanese domestic versions are a completely different animal, and those were off limits. Japan got the RZ spec with the 2 JZ GTE, twin turbo making 280 horsepower factory, same line number as the Skyline. US cars got detuned. Japan got a 6-speed manual option Americans never saw. Japan got specific aero packages and suspension tuning that never crossed the Pacific. So when people say the Supra is available here, sure, technically, but the specific car you actually want, the one with the full Japanese spec sheet, you're still playing the waiting game on some of those variants. Mazda RX-7 FD. Japan sold this until 2002. America got it until 1995, and then Mazda just pulled it. Too expensive. Not enough buyers. Emissions were a nightmare. The sequential twin-turbo rotary engine was brilliant, and also completely unwilling to cooperate with American smog rules. Japan kept getting updated versions with tighter suspension, better turbos, revised power delivery, and special editions like the Spirit R that American enthusiasts could only see in import magazines. The Spirit R in particular, 300 units, built in 2002, best version of the car ever made. You cannot legally import one until 2027. Clean original F DSRX-7s in America are already selling for $35,000 to $60,000. The Spirit R, whenever it finally clears, is going to be a 6-figure car immediately. No debate. Level 4. The daily drivers that were actually weapons. Honda Civic Type R EK9. America got the regular Civic. Japan got the Type R. B16B engine. 185 horsepower from 1.6 liters with no turbo and no hybrid assist. Just a naturally aspirated engine revving to 8,900 revolutions per minute, sounding like it has a personal vendetta against the red line. Close ratio 6-speed. Helical limited slip differential. Seats bolted straight to the floor, no power adjustment, no heated cushions, just grip and commitment. Built from 1997 to 2000. Clearance on the 1997 model started in 2022. Clean examples are already rare because Japan drove these things hard and they lived difficult lives. The ones that survived are collector pieces now. Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution. Hear me out. America did get the Evo eventually. But the early ones, the Evo 1 through Evo 6, those never officially came here. Japan was running these things in World Rally Championship events and selling essentially the same car to the public. A WD. Turbocharged 4-cylinder, active yaw control in the later versions that could brake individual rear wheels mid-corner to rotate the car exactly where you pointed it. The Tommi Mäkinen edition, named after the Finnish rally driver who won 4 consecutive WRC driver titles in a Lancer. That was 300 units of the most focused Evo 6 ever built. Those cleared the 25-year mark in 2024 and 2025. Prices went up before the ink dried on the paperwork. Nissan Silvia S15. This one stings specifically because the S14 version, the 240SX Silvia body, was sold here. Then Nissan redesigned it, made it sharper, lighter, gave it a proper turbo SR2ODET from the factory, and then just didn't bring it over. Japan got a 250 horsepower turbocharged rear drive coupe that looked incredible and drove even better. America got nothing. The S15 ran from 1999 to 2002. The early cars are clearing the 25-year rule right now, in real time, and the import scene is already moving on them hard. Expect prices to climb the same way R32 prices climbed when those cleared. You're either buying now while there's still room, or you're paying premium in 3 years and pretending you planned it this way. Level 5. The Kei cars. Now this is where it gets genuinely weird. Japan has an entire class of tiny cars called Kei cars, built under strict government size and displacement limits. And some of them were absolutely unhinged for what they were. Honda Beat. Mid-engine, rear-wheel drive, 660 cubic centimeters, 3-cylinder revving to 8,100 revolutions per minute. 0 turbo, 0 all-wheel drive. Just a tiny naturally aspirated engine behind your head screaming at the sky while you do 60 miles per hour feeling like 120. Weighs almost nothing. Honda tuned the intake and exhaust specifically to maximize the sound and feel at high RPM because there wasn't much else to work with. Built 1991 to 1996. These are clearing the rules now, and Americans are discovering them and losing it. You can buy one for $8,000 to $15,000 depending on condition. That's it. Autozam AZ1, Mazda, gullwing doors, mid-engine layout, 660 cubic centimeters, turbocharged 2-cylinder making 63 horsepower. Sounds pathetic. Looks like something designed to escape from a spaceship. Weighs 720 kilograms. That 63 horsepower is working against basically nothing. Suzuki Cappuccino, same deal. Rear-wheel drive. Turbocharged key engine. Convertible. These cars are pure driving experience stripped of every comfort and safety margin that made normal cars boring. People who've driven them say they feel faster than cars with 3 times the power because they're engaging every single sense at once. They cost almost nothing to buy now. Insurance is cheap. Running costs are minimal. And they're just becoming legal. This is the sleeper class of the import wave. Level 6. The legends that got converted. Same story as the track-only hypercars, just on a smaller scale. Some of these banned cars made it here anyway through gray market imports and people willing to risk it. Back in the early 2000s, before enforcement tightened up, you could find R33 Skylines on the road in California and Washington, and nobody was checking hard enough to stop it. Dealers were filing fake titles. People were registering them as different model years. Some of those cars are still out there right now, technically on the road, technically illegal, just never flagged. Bruh, that's not a flex. That's a ticking clock. Customs agents have shown up years later and seized cars that had been driven legally for almost a decade. One guy in California lost an R34 he'd owned for 7 years. Paid over $100,000 for it. Customs crushed it. No compensation. Legal title didn't matter because the import itself was fraudulent. Don't do it. The legitimate path is slower, but it's real. Once a car clears 25 years, you can bring it in through a registered importer, get it inspected, pay the duties, and it's yours. Clean title, legal plates, no federal agents knocking on your door at 6 in the morning. The process costs money. A proper R32 GT-R import with all the paperwork done right runs you $5,000 to $10,000 in fees on top of the car price. Worth every dollar compared to the alternative. Then there's the show or display exemption. This is the obscure loophole that lets specific cars come in before 25 years if they're considered historically or technologically significant. The car gets limited to 2,500 miles per year. Basically house arrest with a license plate. The R34 GT-R actually qualified for this. A small number of them came in legally under this exemption and can technically drive on American roads, but they're tracked, mileage logs, inspections. You're not daily driving it to get coffee. You're treating it like a museum piece that occasionally runs. Level 7. The ones coming soon that you should actually be watching. The R34 situation is the big one. As 1999 and 2000 cars clear the 25-year mark right now, the import volume is going up fast. Prices are responding. A clean R34 GT-R V-Spec is already $80,000 to $120,000 in Japan before shipping. Add import costs, compliance work if needed, duties. You're looking at $100,000 to $150,000 for a legitimate example by the time it lands on your driveway. That number is going up, not down. Every year that passes, more people want them, fewer survivors exist, and the ones that are left get more expensive. The window isn't closed, but it's closing. The S15. Silvia is the move for people who want the JDM experience without the six-figure commitment. Right now, you can still find clean examples coming out of Japan for $15,000 to $25,000. Give it 2 years once word fully spreads, and those prices are moving. Same engine that people have been swapping into everything for 30 years. Parts are everywhere. Knowledge base is massive. The car is sharp, pretty, and rear-wheel drive with a proper turbo. It's not a Skyline, but it's also not a Skyline price. Honda NSX Type R. Japan made 2 versions. The NA1 and NA2 era cars with the Type R designation are some of the most communicative sports cars ever built. Mid-engine, aluminum body. Honda stripped weight obsessively. No power steering, no air conditioning, thinner glass, lighter seats. The car was built around telling the driver exactly what was happening at all 4 contact patches at every moment. Ayrton Senna famously helped develop the chassis. He drove a prototype and said the front end wasn't sharp enough. Honda fixed it. The NSX Type R NA1 clears 25 years through the early 2024 to 2026 window, depending on the production date. These are already $80,000 to $100,000 cars, and they will not get cheaper. Reality check. Most of these cars are not cheap anymore. The 25-year rule window that used to mean you could grab a Legend for bargain money has been closing for years. The R32 was $15,000 when it cleared. Now it's $40,000 minimum. The same thing is going to happen to every car currently clearing or about to clear. You're not getting an R34 for a deal. You're not finding a Spirit R RX-7 at a discount when it finally lands. The market knows exactly what these cars are. The enthusiasts who track these regulations for years are already buying. By the time it shows up on a YouTube video, the real money has already moved. The smartest play right now is the stuff that just cleared and hasn't fully priced in yet. S15 Silvias. Clean E K9 Civic Type Rs with service history. Honda beats if you want something genuinely weird and fun. Evo 1 through 3 for the rally history. These are still in the window where motivated searching finds reasonable pricing. Not cheap, but not insane. 3 years from now, they're going to look like the deals everyone wishes they made. The R34 is already at the point where you need real money and real commitment. The cars below it are still accessible if you're paying attention right now.